Welcome everybody to Studio Wesley Live, our weekly hangout for community connection in the Studio Wesley universe. I'm Derek Scott III, here with a great panel. We're going to have a great night. It is December 31st. It is, yes, the fourth Sunday in Advent. It is also the winter solstice. It is the longest night of the year. And y'all, you have no idea how much I love this night. Like, I love the longest night of the year. This is going to be great. We're going to have a great time. And y'all, we've got like the best panel ever. So I'm gonna let our panel say hey and tell us their go-to Christmas gift, like the gift that they give where they don't know what else to give, and so they got to give a gift, and this is the gift, their go-to Christmas gift. So let me start with our someone who's very new to Studio Wesley Live, Issa. Issa, how are you doing this evening?
Hi guys, I'm good. So my name is Issa, and my go-to Christmas gift, if I don't really know what to get someone, you can't really go wrong with a Visa gift card. I love getting a Visa gift card. I love giving a Visa gift card. And if I really don't know the person, I will be really nice and give them like a $50 Visa gift card. It depends, but that's what I usually get someone if I don't really know what to give them.
Like go-to is 50, like starting amount is 50.
Yeah, if I feel bad and if I really don't know what to get someone, I'll up the price just a little bit more. That's what I'll do.
You can just I'll text you my mailing address, okay? Yeah. Issa, we're so glad to have you in Studio Wesley Live tonight. Yeah, you're great, and I'm just so excited that you're here. So welcome. Neil, how's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. Usually, Derek, I'm pretty good at getting people some sort of gift that I think they'll enjoy. It's like my friend Liam last year. Well, it was actually a birthday, and I was like, I don't know what to get him, but he always wears hats, so I'm gonna get him a hat. And now it's his favorite hat. But last year when I started at Manifest, we were doing a white elephant thing, which we're not doing this year. Just for I don't even really know. I think just there's poor planning all around. But I one of the person I got is someone I didn't know terribly well, and for me I was like, you know what, USB-C cable. All right, like when in doubt, get somebody another charger cable, because at this point you cannot have enough charger cables. Brick, you're on your own, but like cables are always the first thing to go bad. So, and so many things use USB-C now, like all the new Samsungs. Well, they've been doing it for a while. New iPhones, like headphone cases, everything uses USB-C. So, when in doubt, grab another cable.
Wow, I wouldn't be mad if you got me that gift. I would not be mad. Are we talking about Liam Lynch? Are we talking about Liam Lynch?
Yes, I'm talking about Liam Lynch.
I love Liam Lynch. Liam put a picture of Winston on the wall.
He did.
And he sent me a video of it. Y'all, talking about my best friend in the whole world right now, Liam Lynch. Yep. Well, Neil, I'm sure Liam's going to really appreciate your gifts. So I'm grateful that you're here. Grateful that you're. Wait, what was it? Not quarter inches.
USB-C cables.
USB-C cable. Yeah. You know what? You're right. Yeah, that's good. Grace, welcome. Happy winter solstice.
Happy winter solstice, buddy. Mm-hmm. So I'm okay-ish. It's finals, or it's like I'm done with finals now. I took one incomplete, which is actually like I didn't finish it, but it's just like a pause. It's a reprieve. It's sure, have more time. So like technically I'm done with finals, but I do have to do my evangelism project still. So, it'll be fine. But I'm like, instead of like a quarter of a person, I'm a half a person now. Like I'm coming back. So I'm okay. But when I think about like what to get people, first off, I'm a gift giver. I love getting gifts, and I love like, even if I don't know somebody super well, I love like, I will go back through like all of the, like, you know, the Cynthia Erivo meme where she's like, and it's like the concept of,
oh yeah.
The concept of getting this person a gift. I go through every memory I have. I'm like, okay, what does this person like? And I try to do something like specific. But also I was raised by a couponer. So we keep a backstock of soaps and lotions and candles and Bath and Body Works wall plug things.
Wow.
So, which Neil knows because I haven't. So y'all joked beforehand that like, Grace, don't say the thing that you've gotten Neil. I've like for the past 5 years. Actually, my mother has gotten Neil soap for almost every major event. And to be fair, like, it's good soap. But there's always the awkward thing of like, is it weird that I'm getting you soap? Like, am I telling you that you smell? No, I'm just sharing this thing that smells really good with you so that we can all enjoy it.
Wow.
But I'm like, I was also raised like, my mom doesn't trust me to have candles. So do I ever get candles as gifts from her? No. But I do get soap. And I'm okay with that. I am. And now I give people soap or something better and more like niche specific. So it's either like hyper specific or soap.
Wow. I appreciate that. I particularly appreciate the fact that like the soap is already in the house, or the scent, Bath and Body Works things, and we're going to make good use of this thing. I appreciate that. I really do. I have to name that Issa and I seem to be on the same wavelength, though Issa is a bit better than me. The $25 Amazon gift card, particularly doing it through, actually, it's actually become Uber Eats, actually. It was Amazon, and now it's Uber Eats. $25 Uber Eats. Send that thing via text message. Love you. Merry Christmas. Enjoy your gift. And I call it a day. And, oh gosh, the number of people. Oh gosh. Okay. Sorry. I love y'all. I really do. I promise that I love you. I just don't always have time to buy gifts. All right. Well, great panel. It's going to be a great night. So we're going to go ahead and go to our first segment. Always the first segment. Highlight of the week. Let's go. Y'all, actually, I really, really like that music. I like all of our music, actually. I do. I feel like I have to dance to that music. And I don't like dancing, but it feels like it like calls me to like dance a little bit. Okay, highlight of the week. This is our segment where each member of the panel will share something that they want to highlight from this week or week, something from the neighborhood to the nation, something that they want to make sure the Studio Wesley universe knows about. And so we're going to do that right now. Grace, you're going to get us started. What is your highlight for this week, my friend?
It's like, it's a highlight, but it's also a low light. But it was a highlight for you, Derek.
It was a highlight for me.
We had, y'all, if you could be flies on the wall to the pre-show panel conversations where we're like, wait, no, let me tell you about your thing right now. Basically, Bowen Yang is one of the, or was, sad face, one of the cast members on SNL, Saturday Night Live. I've told y'all some of the things that I exude autism around, that being Five Nights at Freddy's, American Girl Dolls, the Super Bowl halftime show, and Saturday Night Live. So my heart is like,
don't forget Coca-Cola.
And Coca-Cola, yeah, well, yeah, Coca-Cola for sure. Thank you. Yes, I'm really proud of Bowen. I'm like sad for him. Well, I'm sad for me because also like he was our like most straightforward queer representation on SNL, and he was so funny and he was so good at it, and he was so good at playing the straight guy as well. I love Bowen Yang. I love him so much, but I'm really excited for him. But this is the link to his final SNL skit. It's very emotional. It's extra emotional for Derek because it takes place in the Delta Sky Lounge.
And I am not even an hour old on this. Like, nobody told me that the scene takes place in the Delta Sky Lounge. And if you know me, you know that's a really important thing for me. So what am I doing when we get done?
Derek promises to watch Bowen Yang's final SNL skit.
I am making a promise that I am going to watch Bowen Yang's final SNL sketch after I go to my buddy's open mic night songwriters event. Literally, I'm going to leave and go straight there. So after I get done with that, then I'm watching the Bowen Yang SNL skit. Wow. So I'm just curious, Grace, in the final SNL sketch, is there a particular moment that you were just like, oh, Bowen?
He started crying.
No.
He got real, like the sketch, like I went in blind. I didn't know what it was. And first off, it's this like whole metaphor. He's like passing out eggnog at the Delta Sky Lounge, and he's like, I've been here for so long and I've been passing out, eggnog for so many years, and sometimes it's great and sometimes it's rotten, and most of it got cut. But there was a part in it, I think it was Cher. So, okay, Ariana Grande was the host, and then Cher was the musical guest because, of course, it's Bowen's last night. It's Bowen's last night.
Yeah.
But there was a moment. I don't remember if Bowen said it or if Cher said it. There was something like, "Not everybody has liked me, but the people that do are my people." And I was like, I watched it in the shower earlier, and so I had water like falling all around me and falling from my face, and I was just like,
Okay. All right. Then I guess that's what I'm doing after I get done with my buddy's songwriters open mic. Okay, that's great. Thanks, Grace, for that highlight. Neil, highlight of the week. Please share if you would.
Yes. So technically, I was supposed to be on the live last week, and I had technical difficulties. So I'm recycling the highlight that I was going to talk about last week.
You are.
At Manifest, we work with a company called Find Familiar Spirits, which does a lot of Dungeons and Dragons themed whiskeys and stuff. Comes in a big like box, it's collectible. If I had one, I'd show you guys. I actually do somewhere, but I forgot to grab it for the live. I totally blanked. Anywho, the company is co-owned by Matthew Lillard of, Shaggy fame. He did the live-action Scooby-Doo movies as well as a few animated things. He was one of the first one of the serial killers in Scream, or in the first Scream, Stu. Also, according to Lillard and Skeet Ulrich, the first on-screen queer serial killer couple. That is a ship that they both, are gung-ho for. And in the Five Nights at Freddy's movies, which is where Grace really knows and loves him from. I got to meet him. He came by Manifest. There he is. There's me and him. He's tall. He's so tall. He's like 6'4". I'm 5'5" on my best day. Like, he's a tall dude, and he could not be nicer. He could not be more friendly. I made him that drink, which I named after his character from Five Nights at Freddy's, the purple guy. And I have him on video as saying, "Neil, this is so good. Are you trying to get in my pants right now?" It was just hilarious. And I got him to sign a page in my journal so I could give it to Grace. Because, Grace couldn't be there, and Grace is also a big fan. So I was like, "Could you sign this so I can give it to my girlfriend?" And not girl, but more than friend, And my friend. So in it, he wrote, "Grace, your Neil, ... Very handsome, ML." And I'm like, damn, okay, Matthew
And
Lillard,
he drew a giant heart on it.
He did.
I don't think the giant heart was for me. I think the giant heart was for you.
I think so. Wait, I'm so unprepared. Wait. Aha! There it is. Is it backwards? Can y'all read that?
No, we can read it.
All right, good. Yeah, look at it.
He loves you.
Okay, Neil, you sent me the picture, and you sent me a picture of the journal entry. You didn't send me the video, and I'm feeling like I need you to send me that video.
All right,
and that needs to be the thing that I watch after I watch the Yang skit. After I go to my buddy's songwriting open mic. So
you got a lot going on, Derek.
I got a lot going on. My name is Derek. Like, Neil, I just want to say that's a highlight. Okay, you meeting Matthew Lillard and us getting to see the beginnings of your love affair with him. I just think it's both a highlight and it's a privilege. And there it is. You have sent it. It's literally right there in my text messages. I'm very.
We've made the right man famous. He's lovely.
Well, what a highlight. Okay, like that is a highlight that the Studio Wesley universe needs to know about. Yes, I am promising all of those things. I'm so glad we're taking account of it. I'm never going to get a medal for fulfilling any of the things that I promised to do. Why would I? But Neil, that's a great highlight.
Next Christmas.
Derek, I'm getting you a medal for Christmas. That's what I get people that I don't know what to get is participation medals.
I think you're getting me soap. I think you're getting me Bath and Body Works. Neil, thanks for that highlight. Issa, what is your highlight this week?
Okay, so sometimes on my phone, I get like these notifications from the Today Show. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. I grew up watching a lot of the Today Show, and I really liked it because sometimes when it would kind of get depressing, as the news kind of can be a lot of the times, then Hoda Kotb will come in and say something really positive and will lighten the mood. So I found a particular story that came out December 19th, so just a few days ago, and it's titled 78-year-old eats gumbo at this restaurant every day. When he didn't show, the chef saved his life. So I thought it was interesting. First of all, this actually happened in Pensacola, Florida. So I currently live in Florida, so it was really cool that this article and this whole thing happened in my state. So essentially what had happened was there was this elderly man who, like the title says, he would go to this restaurant every single day to get gumbo. And at some point, he was on his way to the restaurant and he fell, and he lived alone, and no one knew that he had fallen until the chef of the restaurant realized that this man hadn't come into the restaurant to eat his gumbo. So the chef goes to his house and realizes that he had fallen, takes him to the hospital, and while he's in the hospital, serves him gumbo every day that he's there. So I thought that was really, really cool and a really positive thing to get to read. So I loved reading it. So that's my positive thing for the week.
Issa, thank you for that highlight, because we need more stories of like good humanity, like good, like basic, just people being themselves humanity, right? Like the heroic kind of stuff is awesome, but I missed my dude coming in and getting my gumbo. Let me go check on him. Like that is, thank you for that. Thank you. What a beautiful, beautiful highlight. All of these highlights, Allison's going to make sure are on the Instagram reel tomorrow. I think she'll do it tomorrow. It's a weird work week, so she may not get to. It's up to her. Like she runs her life, y'all. But Allison may end up having the highlights up on Instagram tomorrow. You'll be able to check out all of them. So now I will. Well, thank you, Issa, for that highlight. I will share my highlights for this week. And I just decided that I like sharing about movies. I don't go and see a lot of movies, but when I do, I'm very committed to the movies that I've decided to go see in the theater, and then I talk about them and probably see them multiple times. I don't know if I'll see this one multiple times, only because of its length. But if you weren't aware of what I was already talking about, I'm talking about Avatar, Fire and Ash, came out this week. I actually saw it Thursday night at 10:15. Y'all, it's a 3-hour and 15-minute movie, so you can just imagine what time it was when I left the theater with my buddy. And but let me just say, it was good. It was a good tour. I know, like some of the reviews were like, "This third installment was just a lot." So, like, I don't know, man. Like, it's so much money that James Cameron put into it. Like, yes, and he tells a great story. It's a great story. I don't need it to be my salvation. I don't need it to change the world. Give me 3 hours and 15 minutes of a good story. I turned to my friend about an hour and a half into it. I was like, I am enraptured. I'm here. I am locked in. Like, it was a really good movie. And yes, it was long, but it was good long. Like, I was not mad at my life that we had to go get a popcorn refill, and we already had a large popcorn bucket. But that's what happens when it's 3 hours and 15 minutes. Did I tell y'all there was a 3-hour film? Did I tell you that? But it was so good. I think
Derek,
yeah.
How long was the movie?
It was actually 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh.
In fact, here's what was really funny about us going. Me and my buddy Ben, we were the only ones in the theater. And so they played the first preview, and then they just stopped playing previews and just went straight to the movie. Because we were the only two people in the whole theater. It was a really large theater. It was really good. We saw it Thursday night. It was great, friends. I invite you to go see it. This is the movie you go see with the family members that you like. I have nothing else to talk about, but we're still hanging out. Let's all go see Avatar. Yeah, let's all go see Avatar right now. Let's all go see Avatar. So I hope that you'll do that. Awesome. Grace, are you giving announcements today? Is that you?
I mean, nobody told me, but
Yeah,
I can think up some if we need to.
I got it. Neil, Michael was like, somebody's gonna give an announcement. All right, announcement. We don't have community group tonight. And so sad, but it's the winter solstice, and it's the longest night of the year, and we're in winter break mode. So we won't have community group tonight, and we're not going to have live next week. Next week, we will take the week off and enjoy the Christmas season. It'll be the first Sunday after Christmas. So we're all going to be hanging out in our first Sunday after Christmas vibes. We'll be back. Mark your calendars. This is for everybody. This is even for the team because we haven't talked about it. We'll be back January 4th. We're going to be back 6 p.m. YouTube Live, January 4th. It's going to be great. First Studio Wesley Live of the year. I'm super stoked and excited about it. So beautiful, beautiful stuff. Good times. Okay, so we now move. Thank you for that, Grace. Thank you. We now move to our special segment of the night, Words from the World. Words from the World is our segment where someone on our panel will bring a topic that we're literally hearing from the world, something that we want to discuss, something we want to think about in the Studio Wesley universe. And tonight, Neil is going to bring our word tonight. So, Neil, we're listening to you. Let's go.
Thank you, Derek. So aside from the last time I did Words from the World and my other highlight, I always usually try to do local things. I strayed from it when I talked about tea because that was like a big global thing that I really loved. Also, for all those who remember, I did order her tea and I am loving it. It is the best tea I've ever had in my life. I've ordered a couple different types and I've got another order coming in, I don't know, in a week or so. However, today's we're getting back to local stuff. The Jacksonville Horror Film Festival is coming up, I believe, in March, and Manifest, my job, we are actual official sponsors of it. So once a month, I think it's on the first or second Thursday of the month. Some folks representing that group come in and we do horror movie trivia. Really what I want this to be about is, like, as cool as the horror film festival is, I also want to bring this and, step out a little bit and get into a larger conversation about how important it is that people of like niche and I dare even say marginalized communities, how important it is that they can come together, especially in this post-COVID world. You know what I mean? Because it's like, that's what I love about my job and doing all this Dungeons and Dragons stuff, because, for the most part, like, people kind of came around to the idea of D&D because of the first couple seasons of Stranger Things. That kind of like propelled it more into the cultural zeitgeist. So now, like, most people are relatively aware of what D&D is, even if they don't play it. But even still, the people that do, are sort of looked at as like, oh, like, you nerd, right? Whatever. And like, when you look at all the films for like this film festival, I don't know a single one. And I'm, not like the most massive like horror fan in the world, but these aren't even movies that, anyone has heard of. Like, we're not talking about Sinners or like Scream 7, which isn't even out yet. Also starring Matthew Lillard, by the way, my best friend. And but we're not talking about like the big name stuff. Like, this is like deep cuts for people who are really, really into horror and trying to show them like new movies and stuff. And I just think it's so important to be able to gather together like this, because it's like we weren't able to. It's like now we're back to what used to be normal for us, but like 5 years ago, like, this couldn't have been a thing. Even 4 years ago, 3 years ago, no one could like do all these things. So the fact that a bunch of people who are really nerdy about horror movies and horror films can get together and hang out with a bunch of like-minded folks is just so cool. And to have spaces like that for like I said, I'll even call them marginalized to extend, but it could even extend even beyond that, even just horror fans, right? And horror and Dungeons and Dragons, like anybody who's into anything, it's like we're finally at a place where we can get together and like have these things. And I was just sort of thinking about it and reflecting on it the last couple of days as I was looking more into the horror film festival, because every time we've had it, aside from last Thursday, a bunch of people came through, but like the previous other couple times, like, bar's full. There's like 40 some odd people, like showing up and, for like horror movie trivia. And it's always the same people. And they're always like really nice and so happy to be there and just so excited to participate in it. Because I think horror, in terms of like, films, it's like, there's like a lot of saturation of it, but the good stuff is hard to find. But even then, the good stuff is not the stuff that people are really talking about, you know? I know there's that one streaming service called Shudder, which is all about horror films. It is a streaming service devoted entirely to horror movies, short film series, everything. And obviously, you know, other streaming services have some on there, but Shudder is totally dedicated to that side of the community. And I think that also speaks to how important and how intense that community is, because you don't really have a streaming service just for like rom-coms. You don't have a streaming service just for action movies, but enough horror fans came together to say, hey, like, let's, you know, like, let's make a company and, you know, like make it to where like all of your favorite horror films in one spot. And, you know, I don't think the Horror Film Festival has anything to do with Shudder, but I'm sure everyone who's a part of it subscribes to it. And I always just love to see people like, you know, especially myself as a nerd, right? It's like I'm into a lot of niche stuff. I always just love to see other nerds have spaces and outlets where they can be themselves. So, but I just want to bring that to y'all's attention, especially for those of us living here in Jacksonville, and you know, also just poke your brain on how you feel about those sorts of gatherings.
Neil, thanks for bringing this word. I think it's an interesting thought, a question as well, and I'll say something in a moment, but I'd love to hear Issa and Grace sort of respond to what you've offered us tonight.
Yeah, I think this is a really interesting concept. I think, to me, and forgive my ignorance, horror is not something that you will catch me watching. I grew up really wanting to watch horror movies, like Quiet Place era, It era, and then I was told that I can start watching horror movies when I learn how to sleep with the light off, and I still have not managed to do so. So, forgive that I don't really know so much about horror films, but what I do know is that the entire genre doesn't really seem to be acknowledged as rom-coms do or action movies do, in the way that I think that they should. There aren't many horror movies that are up for Oscars or up for really notable awards that I think that they should be. So I hope to kind of listen to everyone else's perspectives and trying to gain more knowledge on this, because this is a really interesting idea.
Yeah.
So Issa, I see you and I hear you, because I love horror and I cannot handle it. I just can't handle it. I love it so much. I, for a while in my life, was going to Halloween Horror Nights, technically not on my own volition. That's a different conversation. But I was so interested in like the behind the scenes. I love doing like, I love doing special effects makeup. I love like, I respect like the process. I was just talking with some friends about how like I would make a good scream queen, like a good just like either final girl or like how the hell is she the final girl person. But I have a couple thoughts on the film festival. One, it's awesome. I love like just people who are able to like bring these ideas to life, and like horror movies like they tend to not be as respected, like you mentioned. Like they usually, like actors who do horror films, like it's a stepping stone on the way to film, like quote unquote real film. And honestly, it makes me think of like people in the ordination process. Like if like people treat certain stages of the ordination process as a stepping point or like an unserious point to like the better point, and it's like, no, like this is a very important part of somebody's call. Either like this is like, some people love acting in horror films. Some people are called to a various stage of their like ordination process, and like that's where they are called. And like let's like respect horror films for what they are. And also, I don't know if y'all knew this, Jacksonville, in like the planning of the city, was meant to be like a Hollywood. It was meant to be a film hub. It was meant to be this like place where there were a bunch of film studios. And so you still see some remnants of it. Remnant, but you see, sorry, that's a Five Nights at Freddy's thing. Because I love it. Like that. Like I don't play horror games. I can't. I don't do the games. Do I learn all the lore? Yes. And so things like this, very exciting. But like it's fun to see little remnants of that still in Jacksonville, or something like this, where like there are filmmakers here. there are phenomenal, highly skilled actors, directors, artists, special effects folks. Like, there's music videos for this thing. There's just so much. You get like trivia. You get something that like is good for the local space, but also is like for the soul. Like chicken soup for the horror buff soul. Things like, so it's just like it's fun, it's cute. I wish I could handle it. I would love to be there. Sadly, I will be watching a YouTube recap. But
and another thing, like that I was thinking of, bouncing off of, like, you know, what you and Issa were saying about horror films and like shows not getting enough respect. I think so much of it is also like what they are attached to. You know what I mean? Like if Sinners wasn't attached to Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld, and Ryan Coogler, I don't think it would have gotten nearly as much attention as it would have. If, you know, the stuff like Haunting of Hill House and Bly Manor and all that stuff and Midnight Mass, if all those things were not as successful as they were, and also attached to, like, you know, other like big name like actors and actresses, like, I don't think they would have gotten that same level of recognition. You know, so it's like when you get to some of these smaller films or like some of the more niche ones where it's like, yeah, maybe you don't recognize this actor, don't recognize all the names, or maybe it's a name of somebody like, oh, you know them from like one or two things, but not super big, right? It's like Matthew Lillard. Matthew Lillard was kind of like that, you know, especially like early in his career. I mean, he's done a lot of stuff, but, you know, like Scream was a horror movie, right? 13 Ghosts was a horror movie. You know, it's like obviously not really the Scooby-Doo movies, but they have elements of that spookiness, like, you know, in them. And, you know, now coming back, you know, doing Five Nights at Freddy's, he's coming back to do Scream 7. He's actually, another project he just finished wrapping up is another reboot of the Carrie franchise. So he's going to be doing Carrie, for all those, you know, who remember, like, you know, the first, yes, exactly. So yeah, for all those who remember Carrie, you know, he's going to be in that. And so he is also one of those guys that's really into acting in horror movies and into the spooky and the macabre. Macabre, name of another one of his sub brands. But yeah, it's like folk don't get that respect, but they should. You know, like the makeup and the effects is so amazing in a lot of those, and, you know, it should get as much respect as you know, as a Tarantino film or a Scorsese film. It's like, if not more. Derek, you're gonna say something.
Lots of things. I appreciate this is an interesting word that you brought to us, Neil. And I want to thank Issa and Grace for their comments. I got to be honest, Issa, I'm with you. I'm not a horror person either. I actually sleep with no lights anywhere. But that's because I'm not afraid of the dark. Nobody thought that was funny. Nobody. That's great. Okay, cool. All right. So
some of us have been afraid of the dark, and that's okay.
Yeah, it is okay. It's very okay. I actually prefer the dark. I am more afraid of the light. Like, I'm afraid of the light. But there are
Derek, I can barely see with the lights on. You know what I mean?
There
like,
are pictures that actually, like, me being afraid of the dark, like there's some scriptures that come at me when I say that out loud. But yeah, so anyway, I prefer darkness. But the reason I don't like horror films is I don't like being scared, which is different from not being afraid of things, right? Like, I don't like people like pinging at my fear. And in the last 2-3 years, I have raved about certain movies and series that categorized as horror films, like Sinners. Like, I have said that if you are going to be a good friend to me, you're going to watch Sinners. I'm not going to do everybody on the panel, raise your hand if you have seen Sinners yet. I'm not going to do that yet, because I'm just not going to do it. Not going to do it. All right. But it's a horror film. And, like, I can't believe I'm suggesting a horror film. Like, I don't get it. So there's something. So I was listening to a podcast about another series, Midnight Mass, which is categorized as horror. And I was listening to the director of the writer and director of the series. And he said something like this: horror exists because love exists. Like, because we love, horror pings at all of the things that are there because we love people and we love the life that we're living and the way that society is sort of run. And I was just like, I didn't get the quote exactly right, but I was like, whoa. Okay, so there's that piece. But here's the other piece, Neil. This gets to some of the reasons why I think you brought this word to the table. It's the community aspect. And the opportunity that very few people have to like know that they are not alone in this one niche thing, right? Like there's something that is like affirming, something that is helpful, something that really does something in your psyche when, oh, I'm not the only person that nerds out on D&D, or I'm not the only person that loves like ethical tea sourcing. Like I'm not the only person that wants to watch horror films, like super niche, like really like even low budget horror films. Like I'm not the only one. And I would just say that it lifts up I think a need in all of us. One of the reasons that we gather for worship every week, and I'm not trying to like turn this into church or anything like that. It's just the example. So y'all should come at me about that. But one of the reasons why church attendance is so important is because of the ways that like when you're in the room with other people, and yes, we're worshiping, and yes, like there's scripture and stuff like that, but it's a thing of like you're not the only one. You're not the only one going through this thing. You're not the only one experiencing, and that's one of the reasons, like we, in Christian world, like we make a big deal about that. But I mean, this is the thing that also happens in the bar, right, Neil? Like the thing that happens in the bar is that people realize they're not alone. And we're all sort of going through stuff. The same thing happens for Black men in the barbershop, where we're talking about our lives, and all of a sudden we realize that that's why we go. That's why we go to the barbershop to get a haircut. We go to the barbershop to know that like there are other people just like us. And so I just wonder in what ways like the film festival is an opportunity for a group of people, possibly who don't have a lot of other spaces to gather, a group of people to get together and be like, we have this thing in common. We see things, this one thing we agree on, and we can gather around that. And I think it's existential. I think it's existentially important that we have those moments, those spaces. Okay, final thoughts on horror films before we head out. And to all of those who are afraid of the dark, I used to be afraid of dark. Let me just be really, really clear. I used to be afraid of the dark. And then I realized that in order for me to get sleep, I could not have any lights at all. And so I chose sleep over my fear of the dark. I apologize to all of those out there who might have been watching who were like, did you really just come at me for being afraid of the dark? No, I didn't. It was a bad connection. Okay. Final thoughts
Derek
on
is canceled by and promptly apologizes to Afraid of the Dark community.
Somebody's going to write the think piece, and I'm just going to have to live with it.
And that'll be our words of the world next time.
It will be.
Grace is elected campus minister of Studio Wesley in lieu of Derek's cancellation.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other words?
I got a lot of words. Thoughts on horror films. I love them. I'm happy that people can do stuff again. I would love to be able to partake, but that is not one of my spiritual gifts, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I consume content about the content instead, and God still loves us.
Solid. Issa?
Yes. Okay. So my final comments, as everyone was talking, a bunch of things were floating through my head. And I will say that there is this platform that I do like to watch. As someone who doesn't watch horror films to its entirety, there is this platform on YouTube, and they're called Dead Meat. I don't know if anyone's heard of them. Yes. Okay. So Dead Meat is essentially this channel, really, really fun. So they summarize horror movies, but they count the kills in the movie, but they also talk about the behind the scenes of what it takes to create the horror movies, which is really cool because James A. Janice is the host of the platform. And so he'll do really well-known movies like Scream and Five Nights at Freddy's, but he'll also do very low budget movies, just a wide range of horror movies, which is really cool because it really does give credit to all the work that goes into creating horror movies, no matter what the budget is. So that is a really cool platform I like to watch as someone who doesn't watch horror movies as much. It's a really cool channel that you should check out. It's really fun.
Issa, I am impressed, and also like I don't think I could make it through that platform. But I'm intrigued. I am intrigued.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a guy similar who his stuff is called Film Comics Explained. That's his channel, and he does something similar, but just not like as like like animated of like, and we're counting the kills. Like he literally will just talk through the plot of a movie, give some commentary and a little bit of behind the scenes stuff, but mainly just explain the film with like, a few stills and tell you what happens in it, and does it in, about 20-25 minutes, depending on the movie. And that was kind of how I started to dip my, like him and Dead Meat were two channels that I started to dip my toes into the horror franchise, because I was always like terrified of all of them. Like I was terrified of the dark, I was terrified of horror movies, and eventually I was like, maybe I could watch some stuff.
Wow.
Our beloved Michael also suggested How to Beat for horror summaries on YouTube. We love you, Mike. It summarizes the movie and talks about how you could survive the situations best, which for somebody with an active imagination like me, I love to figure out how to survive situations I will most likely never find myself in. So thank you, Mike.
Now I want to get on both of those platforms to see what they say about Midnight Mass and Sinners. Like how, because both are about vampires, which is maybe that's a thing. Maybe
Sinners, you just need to get your act together, and then you're fine. But
I mean, Sinners, don't be a white supremacist. I think that's what Sinners is trying to get at. This is just one. Yeah. Okay. This has been so great. Oh my gosh. Neil, thank you for this word from the world. Such a great conversation. We're going to take a moment for a soul break, and then we'll be right back. Friends, it's been a really great Studio Wesley Live tonight. And as we're coming to a close, I'm just reflecting, and in a weird way, it kind of weaves in a lot of different things that we talked about tonight. But again, I'm reflecting on it being the longest night of the year. And often in a lot of church spaces, there will be a Blue Christmas gathering around this time. It's a Blue Christmas gathering. It's a worship service, reflective time for folks who are experiencing grief and loss in general, and the ways that comes up during the holiday season. And it's a time for people to gather to let them know that they're not alone, that they're not the only ones dealing with grief. They're not the only ones experiencing loss and reckoning with that loss during the Christmas season, and the ways that the Christmas season sort of just brings all of that up in a unique way. And I don't know where you are tonight, or whenever you're watching YouTube Live. I mean, I'm not sure. Some of us are back home after finishing up semester. The semester might have went well, might not have gone as well. Maybe you're not home. I mean, maybe things are not well, and things are not safe for you, and so you find yourself not actually at home. And maybe it's a weird time. I just want to say to you, you're not alone. You're not alone in this world. You're not alone in dealing with hardship, even loss, confusion. You're not alone in feeling like what's the point of all of this? And I do want you to know tonight, like that there are many of us who are actually like, gosh, 2025 has been a rough year. In fact, I would be willing to bet that if you posted in a social media account, hey, did anybody else have a rough 2025? Was this year hard for anybody? You might get more comments than you thought you would, because you're not alone in it. Like sometimes life is hard. I've said that many times in Studio Wesley Universe. I'm though inspired and comforted by some words out of Luke chapter 1. It's part of Mary's song there. And one of the scriptures there, it says, God has looked with favor on the low status of God's servant. And it's this line in the text that reminds me that God can see us even at our lowest. God can see us in the moments that we feel quite low. That our low estate does not remove us from God's sight. And so I want you to know tonight that you're not alone. I want you to know tonight that there are many of us who are struggling this holiday season and that God is still with us. I want you to know that God is still paying attention to us. God is still on our side and is working things out for our good. A lot of that we can't see or sense, and that's the frustrating part, but it doesn't make it any less true. And so I hope that you'll hear that tonight. Wherever you find yourself this holiday season, just remember that best of all, God is with us. You are not alone, my friends. And so with that, I want to thank my panel, Grace and Neil, who are always faithful in the Studio Wesley live space. Issa, what a great first of many appearances on Studio Wesley Live. We're looking forward to seeing more of you in the new year. Again, we're not meeting next week, friends, but January 4th, we're going to start 2026 off beautifully. So, yep, make sure you've got it written down in your calendars. And so with that, friends, have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and we'll see you on the other side. Have a good night, friends. Be well.